Alright guys, hey, so this video is being made to answer some of those questions that you posted on Google Classroom. Guys, I hope that you are doing well and that you're feeling okay. Today is the first day of um, our online learning, so I'm going to be making another video to put on there, but please make sure that you're checking Classroom, make sure that you're checking your email, make sure you're checking Remind. Okay, the best policy I think right now is to keep y'all as updated as possible, and the only way I can do that is if you are checking the stuff that I'm sending to you. Okay, so guys, today is the first day of distance learning, so please make sure if you are in first, second, third, or fourth, you are checking that today. I'm going to talk about the A and B day schedule a little bit later on, but please make sure you're watching out for that. All right, guys, I'm just gonna kind of run through the questions. We're gonna start off with the question that was most asked yesterday, and that kind of came in one or three ways. So, one, how long will we be doing distance learning? Two, when will we be back? And three, will we ever go back? So I got that from Hamza, Kiara, Cortiana, Ashley, Colby, Sarah, Sarai, Jan, Bulmaro, and Naya. Okay. The district kind of helped me out on this one a little bit because how long are we going to be in distance learning? Well, if you don't know, we're extending this till April 20th, and so as of right now, April 20th. That is subject to change. Okay, if things get worse, the district might decide, let's push this back a little bit more. Um, will we ever go back? Guys, I hope so. Okay, y'all drive me crazy. You're a bunch of weirdos. But I miss you. Like, I miss being around y'all. I miss interacting with y'all. I miss teaching y'all face to face. I don't like having to interact through this computer screen. And so I hope so. I really do. Two, will I have to retake 10th grade? This is coming from Hamza. Okay, this is a pretty good question. And I'm sure some of y'all are wondering this too. Okay, how does this interfere with my academic kind of journey or path? Okay, no, you're not going to have to retake 10th grade. Okay, unless you have failed classes for the year. Okay, the same thing as school year. If you fail a lot of classes, if you don't get those necessary credits, you are going to take this grade again. If you fail world history, okay, some of y'all are not in a good situation right now. Yes, you're going to have to retake this. Okay, but if you're like the majority of y'all and you are doing your stuff and you're working hard and you have the grades to kind of show it, no, you're fine. Okay, keep up with your stuff, keep working. But yeah, you're gonna be a junior next year if you keep up the good stuff. Three, will we learn as a class or on our own? Adonai. Um, I think right now it'd be super unfair of me to make y'all do group work because I don't know what your technology situation is right now. I don't know if you got a laptop like I do. I don't know if you've got an iPad, if you're doing this off your phone. I'm going to try really, really hard to make any assignment that I give y'all on your phone or at least accessible on your phone. Um, the other thing, guys, is I think what I'll do every day, since we have this AB day schedule, is I will have like a Zoom up that if you need to ask questions about one of the articles, if you need to ask questions about one of the assignments, I will be there. Um, it's a little sketchy because some students and some parents have not been acting appropriately with that stuff. And the legality of me being able to webcam with y'all is something that is being debated a lot in a lot of different school districts. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Um, what does the A/B day schedule look like? This is coming from Kiara and Colby. Okay, I'm gonna try to do a graphic right here. That probably won't work, but today, okay, first period is 8:45 to 9:30. Second period is 9:35 to 10:20. Third period is 10:25 to 11:10, and then fourth period is 11:15 to 12 o'clock. Okay, and then on Monday, B day, fifth period, 8:45 to 9:30, and so on. Okay, guys, the reason why we're doing this is the district realizes how much stress is being put on you and your parents. Okay, I don't know if you have lost your jobs. I don't know if you are right now the main babysitter in the household. I don't know if you have one computer for three siblings or more. Okay. And so what the district is trying to do is make sure that you don't have all eight classes in one day. Okay. Some districts, and I know this because I'm on some Facebook groups with other teachers, some states are actually having y'all go to school. So, like, you would have a full school day, all eight periods, 45 minutes each in a Zoom class. Okay, we're not doing that right now. So I'll post that schedule up on Classroom. Today is first through fourth period. Okay, that's only people that need to worry about me right now. This is another question coming from Kiara. How will we turn in work? Okay, please do that through Google Classroom. Okay, you're going to turn it into Google Classroom. With the Achieve, I see those scores through that program. Okay. Will we have video calls? I think this was from Adonai too. Yes, in the form that I probably will do like some type of virtual tutoring session every day, so you will be able to come and ask me questions. I don't know what that looks like right now, though. Okay, I don't know what that looks like. Then I had a lot of great questions from Brian. So one of his first questions was, is the coronavirus similar to the flu? Yes and no. Both are respiratory illnesses that can cause a lot of problems with your lungs. I do believe they kind of come from similar families of diseases, but there are some major differences. Okay, one is that we're seeing, as of right now, we're seeing a fatality rate that is much higher. Right now, we're seeing that technically coronavirus is much more infectious. And the big difference right now between coronavirus and the flu is the fact that the flu, you feel it in like 1 to 4 days. Like, you know, and some of y'all have had it, you know when you got the flu. Like, it's awful. Okay. With coronavirus, it takes about 10 to 14 days for you to really start feeling it. Sometimes it comes earlier, but really it takes like 10 to 14 days. And that's the scary part, because you can get this disease, you can contract it and walk around fine for 10 to 14 days, and then you feel the effects. And in that time, you don't know who you touched, you don't know who you coughed at, you don't know who breathed in your breath, because you're going to share some of those molecules, and that's the problem. So right now, you generally, if you contract it, you infect about 1 to 2 people. So that's why we're doing what we're doing right now. Right now, we're doing this social distancing. Right now, we're doing the stay at home in order to make sure that those connections get broken. So you're not passing this on if you do get sick. His second question was, how come Italy and Spain have higher rates of infection and death rates, and the countries around them do not? Okay, and that just kind of comes down to their populations. Okay, Italy has one of the oldest populations in Europe. Okay, really old population. Unfortunately, we're seeing that this disease really, really impacts the elderly. Now, we're seeing that it does impact pretty much all age brackets, especially 20 to 29-year-olds. So I'm going to talk about that in a sec. But for the most part, Italy just has a very old population. They do have one of the best healthcare systems in the world, but they didn't treat it seriously. Italy is one of the main tourist centers in the entire world, and so you had all these people coming from all across the world coming into their country, bringing in this disease, and Italy doesn't treat it seriously enough. Hits northern Italy. They just shut down that region. They don't shut down the rest of the country, and so it gave the disease enough time to spread. And so, unfortunately, what we're seeing is that Italy's healthcare system is just really overwhelmed. They've been having to turn away people, I believe, over 65 or 60, I think, at this point. What happens, though, is that Spain is another huge center for tourism, and people were like, oh, I can't go to Italy, I'll just jump over to Spain. And so the problem happened again. Spain didn't treat it seriously enough, and it spread, and Spain is now really, really impacted. Now, the other things that Italy and Spain share a lot is that Italy and Spain have much higher rates of people that smoke than the United States, okay, or other regions. Okay, we're seeing a lot more deaths as this spread, but Italy and Spain have a much higher rate of smoking, and smoking impacts your lungs. This disease attacks your lungs. It makes it very hard for you to fight it off. Okay. The other thing, I guess, going with the other countries though, before I move on, is that there are some natural barriers that are kind of helping keep in the disease. So you have the Alps that kind of cap off Italy. If you can kind of think about how it's that boot, it has the mountain range up at the top, and then Spain also has the Pyrenees. And so that's helping a little bit, but because we're able to fly and stuff like that, it's not as effective as it would be. And then he asks, where is the cure? Okay, and that's one thing that kind of separates the flu from coronavirus, is that the flu has a vaccine. Okay, and so some of y'all get flu shots every year. That is a vaccine. It helps your body fight off that disease. Right now, we don't have that. And so his question was, where is the cure? Well, people are working on it. Oops, sorry. Moderna is a company up in Massachusetts. They were one of the first to announce that they were moving on to clinical trials. Problem with vaccines is you got to make sure it works. So we're looking at about a year to a year and a half to really see if we can get a vaccine pushed out. Now, people are really trying to ramp up this development, but as of right now, they're still trying to figure it out because they need to, one, test it not only on animals to make sure that kind of passes the test, but also on human beings, and then they need to figure out whether there's side effects to this vaccine, and is that going to make more problems than it solves. Okay, and his last question was, what is hantavirus? Okay, hantavirus is a disease that was spread by rodents, and a Chinese individual died of this a few days ago, and this is why he's asking this question. He also asked, is it going to kind of spread like what we're seeing with coronavirus? No. Okay. Hantavirus is a disease spread by particular types of rodents that do live here in the United States. But unless you are dealing with rat feces, rat urine, and rats on kind of a frequent basis, it's not as deadly. It's not as easily spread from human to human. It's from rat to human. So the possibility of you sharing this is a lot harder. Not to say that it's not very deadly. It's about a 39% death rate, but it's just going to be really hard for it to spread like what we're seeing with coronavirus. Okay, so moving on. Okay, Tion asked, how will we take tests? I don't know. That's a really great question because we will do summative assessments, but I know that if I give you a multiple choice test on quizzes or whatever, some of y'all, not you, Tion, but you may look up the answers. Okay, you may get that temptation. So I don't know how much of a fair assessment of your abilities me giving a test right now is. So when I figured that out, I will also tell you. Celeste asked, has there been any lockdowns in the past? Before we left, we actually looked at the 1918 flu in some of my classes. I don't think I did this with my own level, but we looked at the 1918 flu. And like I said that day, history really only matters if you are learning from it. So what we can look at the 1918 flu is to kind of see, does shutting down your businesses work? Does going into social distancing work? Does going into a shelter at home work? Well, if we look at the examples in 1918, we can see we have two examples. We got Philadelphia and we have St. Louis. Okay, there was war going on. Philadelphia wanted to support the soldiers fighting in Europe. They decided to have a giant parade despite knowing that this disease was spreading. So they had this giant parade, 200,000 people decided to show up. And Philadelphia had one of the worst death rates in the entire country. About 17,000 people unfortunately died shortly after that parade. St. Louis decided to go the other way. St. Louis shut down their theaters. They shut down any really gathering place where people could meet. They shut down arenas. They shut down businesses. They shut down stuff where people were going to have close interactions. That should sound pretty familiar. And what we see with this is that they were able to keep the death rate very, very low. Okay, it's not to say that it was perfect Okay, it's not to say that people didn't get infected, but the death rate was much lower than what we saw in Philadelphia. Okay. Um, you can even look further back. There was this weird disease called the sweating disease that took place during the Renaissance in England, and the king at the time, Henry VIII, actually practiced self isolation. Now he went and lived in his big fancy palace, but he did social distance. Um, all right, Celeste, are we all supposed to go pick up computers? Okay, guys, that is scheduled for Tuesday the 31st. They sent out a call last night about it. You have to reserve a laptop. Okay, you have to reserve a laptop. The other thing too is that they're gonna stagger um, when y'all go to get it, because y'all don't do this anymore. But when I went to Mac, we actually got a laptop from the school, and we were able to bring that home. And so every year, like during summer, you would go up and you would just have these giant lines, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't want y'all all congregating in one little area, um, and so we don't want to help the disease spread. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna stagger it. So if you have reserved a laptop, okay, then yes, on Tuesday you're gonna go get it, but you are gonna be staggered in how you're going to get it. Okay. I hope that answered that question. Brian in my sixth period, he asked, "What are we supposed to do about PE?" Really good question that I don't really have an answer to. I know that your teachers should be reaching out to you. I don't know if they're gonna have you log like a walk or something like that. You do need to go outside. You do need to go and get some sunlight every day, y'all. Okay, I'm trying to do that. Try not to stay in your house too much. If you do go outside, make sure you're doing social distancing, but try to get some type of outside exercise in, because uh, we all need it, y'all. Okay. Brian also asked, how are we supposed to earn money to pay the bills? This is probably the hardest question, and once again, I don't really have an answer. Okay, this is something that is facing millions of people in our country. 3 million people filed unemployment claims, and that is the highest that it has ever been. The record, I think, was set in like 1980. It was much, much lower. I think it was like 68,000 or something like that. Um, so we're facing something that is unprecedented. Now the Senate has passed a bill, and I'm sure you have heard about this, that they're gonna try to give checks of about $1,200 to every adult, with $500 for every child under the age of 17. But that's not going to come until late April. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have a lot of answers to that. I will say, guys, the district is trying to help out. So if you and your family are worried about food, um, they are offering free food. You do have to go pick it up, which I know places kind of an economical strain if you have to spend gas money that you don't have. So unfortunately, that's the best thing I can do for y'all right now. Okay. So Ryan Ezra asked, what is happening with Star? Okay, it's canceled. Okay, Star is donezo, because of the fact that it'd be this mass testing and everything like that. So, what that means for y'all, everybody, that would have taken that English 2 test this year or something else. For y'all. Um, if you pass your English 2 class, you pass the test. Okay, you earn credit by passing the class. If you fail the class, you also have to take the test next year. So pass your dang English class. Okay, that's important. Valeria and Anahi asked, would this in any way affect the next school year? It will. I don't know how. Okay, I really don't know how. It's definitely going to impact it, because this is one of the defining moments in history. Okay, this is going to impact and shape the way that the rest of this century goes. However, academically, I don't know what this looks like. I do know, I think this kind of goes into the next question, will this cut into summer? We're doing distance learning now, so we don't have to extend into the summer. Okay, if we were just shutting down, we would have to make up these days. But we're doing distance learning, so technically we're still in school. So this isn't going to cut into the summer right now. It's not like you're going to have to make up these days when we come back in August. Hopefully I get to see you before that. But right now I don't think it's going to affect the school year. Okay, so guys, I think that was the end of my questions that I got yesterday. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out and email me if you didn't want to put it up on Classroom. Okay, I'm more than happy to try to help you. I hope that you are doing well and that you're healthy. Okay, that is my biggest wish. And I'm thinking about y'all every single day. Okay, so please reach out, or if you just want to talk. Okay, I'm stuck in the home just like you are. Okay, so I will see y'all today because distance learning starts today. Please be safe, and I'll see y'all later.